My child, listen to me now. Do not skip this. I know you are tired. I know you have heard words like these before, and part of you has already reached for the button to move on to the next thing. Because moving on has become a habit. Because staying has felt like it costs more than you have to give right now. But I am asking you to stay. Not because I need an audience. Not because these words need a listener to have meaning. But because you, specifically you, the one reading this right now, the one who woke up this morning carrying something heavy that no one around you fully understands, you need what I am about to say. And I need you to hear it. So stay with me, just a little longer. What you are about to skip could change everything. You are not invisible to me. I want to start there because I know that is the fear underneath every other fear you carry. The fear that you are somehow outside the reach of love, that you are the exception to every promise of goodness, that the care and attention that seems to reach other people bends around you somehow and leaves you in a pocket of cold silence. That fear is a lie, and I want to dismantle it carefully and completely before we go any further. You are not invisible to me, not the version of you that shows up polished and presentable for the world. Not the version of you that says I am fine when people ask. The real version of you, the one that exists in the quiet moments before sleep, the one that knows every wound and every doubt and every secret disappointment, that version of you is the one I see most clearly, and I am not looking away. I love you. I know those words can feel hollow when you have been waiting a long time, and the waiting has been hard. I know that love, real love, is supposed to show up in tangible ways, in open doors and answered prayers and circumstances shifting in your favor. And when those things seem absent, it is natural to question whether the love is real. But let me explain something to you about the nature of what I feel for you, because it does not operate on the timeline you expect, and it does not express itself only in the ways you are looking for. And missing it in one place does not mean it is not everywhere. I love you the way a parent loves a child who is learning to walk, watching the falls not with indifference, but with a particular kind of aching pride, knowing that the fall is part of the learning, knowing that the learning is the point, knowing that what is being built in you through the difficulty is something no shortcut could ever produce. That is what I see when I watch you. And what I see fills me with love. You are my child. Let those words settle into the deepest part of you. Not a stranger, not a distant observer of my goodness, not someone looking through a window at a warmth that belongs to others. My child, with all the belonging and the inheritance and the claim on my attention that those words carry. When a child calls out to their parent in the night, the parent does not weigh the appropriateness of the hour or the number of times the child has called before. The parent gets up. That is what you are to me. The one whose cry I will always respond to. The one whose need will always move me. The one who has a claim on my heart that is not conditional and not temporary and not subject to revision based on performance. You are mine, and I am yours. And that is not a small thing. I am here with you, right now, in this moment, in this specific ordinary, or difficult, or confused, or grief-touched moment of your life. I am here, not hovering at a distance, watching from somewhere beyond the clouds, sending occasional signals and hoping you pick them up. Here, in the room with you, in the space between your thoughts. In the breath you just took without noticing. I am woven into the fabric of your existence so completely that there is no corner of your life that I am not already in. The loneliness you feel is real. I am not dismissing it. Loneliness is one of the most acute pains a person can carry. But the loneliness is not evidence of my absence. It is evidence of a wound that is being healed, slowly and carefully, from the inside. And the healing is happening in the presence of my company, not in spite of it. I need you to listen, not just with the part of you that processes words, with the deeper part, the part that knows things before it can explain how it knows them, the part that recognizes truth not by argument, but by resonance, the part of you that has been waiting for this exact moment longer than you realize. That part of you already knows everything I am about to say. I am not introducing foreign concepts. I am reminding you of what you have always known and what the noise and the pain and the exhaustion of daily life has temporarily buried. So as you read, let it settle, let it land, let it find the place in you that it belongs. None of your pain has been wasted. I need you to understand this with a depth that reaches past intellectual agreement into something more fundamental, something that changes the way you hold what you have been through. Every moment of suffering that you have endured, every loss that you have sustained, every prayer that seemed to fall into silence, every night that stretched longer than you thought you could bear, none of it has been wasted. Not a single tear. Not a single sleepless hour. Not a single day when you groped through the fog and found no solid ground. All of it has been doing something in you that prosperity and ease never could have done. All of it has been building something that only difficulty can build. All of it has been preparing you for something that requires the specific person that the suffering has made you into. You could not be who you need to be for what is coming without having been through what you have been through. And what is coming is worth everything you have paid. Your future is filled with hope. I know that sounds like a slogan. I know you have seen those words on walls and mugs and social media posts until they have lost their edge and their bite. But let me say it to you personally, directly, in the specific context of your specific life and your specific situation and your specific pain. Your future, the actual days and weeks and years that are ahead of you, the unwritten chapters of the story of your life, they are filled with hope. Not hope as wishful thinking, not hope as naive optimism that refuses to acknowledge reality. Hope as a living, active, certain knowledge that the end of the story is good. Hope as the assurance that what has been set in motion on your behalf is moving towards something beautiful. Hope as the confidence that the same love that has carried you this far will not set you down before the destination is reached. I am always near you. In the moments when you feel it, in the moments when you do not, in the seasons of warmth and the seasons of cold, in the days of plenty and the days of lack, in the times of clarity and the times of confusion, I have not moved. I do not move. I am the constant in the equation of your life, the one element that does not change while everything else shifts around it. When you lost the thing you thought you could not lose, I was there. When you received the news that rearranged everything, I was there. When you lay in the dark and could not find a reason to get up the next morning, I was there. And my nearness was the reason you got up, even when you did not know it. I have been your strength when you thought you were simply stubborn. I have been your hope when you thought you were simply too tired to despair. I have been the inexplicable thing that kept you going when all the logical reasons to keep going had run out. That was me. That was always me. Something shifted. I want you to pay attention to what you feel right now, in this moment, as you read these words. Something in you has been moving since you started. Something that was tight has loosened slightly. Something that was closed has opened a fraction. Something that felt impossibly heavy has shifted on your shoulders, not gone yet, but different, not quite as crushing as it was. That is not the words on a page doing that. That is me meeting you here, in this specific place, at this specific moment, doing what I do when I find someone who is willing to be found. And you were willing. even when you did not know you were, even when part of you was already reaching for the button to skip ahead. Something in you chose to stay. Honor that something. It is the wisest part of you, and it is trying to lead you somewhere good. Do not skip this. I said it at the beginning, and I am saying it again because the temptation is going to come again. Maybe it already has. Maybe there has been a voice telling you that this is just content, just words on a screen, just another piece of media in an endless stream of media that promises much and delivers little. That voice is not your wisdom. That voice is the thing that has been keeping you from the breakthroughs that were meant to find you. The protection mechanism that learned to treat everything as a potential disappointment so that nothing could hurt you the way the real disappointments did. That mechanism served you once. It kept you safe when safety was what you needed. But it is not serving you now. It is keeping you small. It is keeping you from the very thing you are starving for. So when it tells you to skip ahead, to move on, to protect yourself, I need you to override it. Stay. Because what I have for you is here, in the staying, and you will not find it in the skipping. I know what you have been carrying, the specific weight of it, the particular texture of the grief or the fear or the disappointment or the longing that you have been living with. I know how it wakes you up at 3 a.m. I know how it sits with you at the dinner table even when the people around you are laughing. I know how it follows you into rooms where you are supposed to be present and pulls your attention back to the wound. I know the exact contour of the ache, the specific shape of the lack, the precise nature of the thing that has been missing or broken or lost. I know it not as an observer, but as someone who has been there in it with you, close enough to count your breaths, close enough to feel the weight alongside you. And because I know it that completely and that intimately, I also know something that you might not be able to see from inside it. It is not the whole story. It is a chapter, a significant, difficult, formative chapter, but not the whole story. And the chapters that are coming are going to be worth everything this chapter has cost. Your breakthrough is near. I want to say that carefully, because I know you have heard versions of it before, and the timing did not match what you were hoping for, and the discrepancy was painful. So let me not speak about this in vague terms. Let me speak about it directly. The specific thing that you have been believing for, the specific door that has been closed, the specific prayer that you have sent up and not yet seen answered in the way you were hoping, it has not been forgotten. It is not lost in the volume of prayers that reach me. It is not less important because time has passed, and it has not yet manifested the way you expected. I have not changed my mind. I have not decided that you do not deserve it. I have not decided to give it to someone else. I have been working, in ways that are not visible to you, to bring it into being in a form that will serve you far better than the form you originally imagined. And it is near, closer than the discouragement tells you, closer than the silence has suggested. Near enough that your job right now is not to generate more prayers, but to prepare your heart to receive. Type amen and share this video if you believe that. Not because the typing of letters in a comment box is a spiritual act that changes anything about your circumstances, but because declaration matters, because saying yes out loud, or typing it into a field, is a way of aligning your external action with an internal belief, a way of moving from passive hoping to active agreement. And I am asking for your active agreement. I am asking you to move from the posture of someone who is waiting to see what happens to the posture of someone who knows what is coming and is adjusting their life accordingly. Amen is a word that means so be it. So let it be. So may it come to pass. And I am asking you to say it and mean it, not as a magic formula, but as a genuine act of faith that takes what I am telling you and says, yes, I receive it. I agree with it. I will live as though it is true. I am asking you to believe. I know belief is not always easy to summon on demand. I know that belief is a muscle, and when it has not been used for a while, it feels weak and uncertain. I know that hope that has been disappointed enough times begins to protect itself by dimming, by becoming cautious, by saying maybe and perhaps, and we will see rather than yes and certainly. And I know the mechanism. I understand why it happens. And I am not condemning you for the doubt that has crept in over the years of waiting. But I am calling you higher than the doubt. I am calling you back to the version of yourself that believed before the disappointments accumulated. Not the naive version, not the version that had not yet learned that life is complex and painful and unpredictable. The version that believed in spite of knowing all of that. The version that had been through enough to know that things do not always go as planned and chose to believe anyway. That version of you is still in there, and that version of you is what is needed right now. Please consider supporting our channel. I am going to be direct about this because I think directness is a form of respect. The content you receive through this channel, the words that are meant to meet you in your most difficult moments, the messages that are crafted to carry something real into the real situations of your life. These require resources to create and to sustain. When you support this channel, you are not just making a transaction. You are participating in a community of people who are choosing to invest in the kind of content that speaks to the soul, the kind that does not default to entertainment but insists on something deeper. Every person who gives even a small amount makes it possible to continue reaching the person who is sitting where you were sitting when you found this, the person who is about to give up, the person who is in the 3 a.m. darkness, the person who needs to hear exactly what this channel is saying. Consider being part of that. Consider being the reason the message continues to reach them. You are coming out more pure. I want you to receive that not as flattery, but as a genuine spiritual reality. What you have been through has been doing something to you that prosperity alone cannot do. It has been burning away the things that were never really you, the identities you borrowed from others, the beliefs you inherited without examining, the fears that had calcified into limits that you thought were permanent walls, but are actually temporary barriers. All of that is being burned away, and what is being revealed underneath it is something extraordinary. The actual you, the one I made, the one I intended, the one whose full presence in the world will do things that the protected and defended and unrefined version of you never could have done. The fire has been doing its work, and the gold that is emerging from it is breathtaking. I need you to hear something that I have been trying to say to you for longer than you know. You were not made for the life that is merely surviving. You were made for the life that is fully alive. The version of your existence that you have been settling for, the diminished, safety first, keep your head down and just get through version, that is not what I had in mind when I made you. When I made you, I had something expansive in mind. Something that would require every gift I placed in you. Something that would call out of you capacities you do not even know you have yet. Something that would put you in places and conversations and situations that would leave the people around you changed. You are not a background character in someone else's story. You are a protagonist. And the story I wrote for you is one worth living fully, not cautiously, not apologetically, not at a fraction of the volume that would fully express who you are, fully, out loud, with everything you have. The enemy has tried to convince you of something false, that you are too much, or not enough, or the wrong kind, or past the age where your dreams still apply to you, or that the window of opportunity has closed, and what remains is simply the management of what cannot be changed. Every single one of those messages is a lie, and I want you to identify them as lies with the clarity and the certainty of someone who has heard the truth from the source. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. You are the right kind. Your dreams are not age-limited. The window has not closed. And what remains is not management of the fixed but active co-creation of something brand new. The enemy fights hardest against the people who have the most potential to do damage to his kingdom. And the ferocity of what you have faced is, in its own twisted way, evidence of how much of a threat you are to everything that stands against goodness and love and truth. He would not bother with you if you were not worth bothering with. You are worth bothering with. Let me tell you what I see when I look at you. I see someone who has held on longer than made rational sense. I see someone who has chosen, again and again, to get back up when everything in their body and their history told them to stay down. I see someone who has loved imperfectly and been hurt for it and chosen to love again anyway. I see someone who has prayed into silence and kept praying. I see someone who has done the right thing when doing the wrong thing would have been easier and more immediately rewarding. I see someone who has carried burdens alone that no person should have to carry alone, and done it with a grace that they have never given themselves credit for. I see someone who is, right now, still here, still reading, still choosing to believe that there is something in these words for them. I see you. And what I see is someone I am deeply, specifically, unmistakably proud of. Your pain has not made you less. This is something the world will tell you the opposite of, in 100 subtle and not so subtle ways. The world looks at what you have been through and makes calculations about your value based on what it cost you. It looks at the loss and calculates deficit. It looks at the suffering and calculates damage. It looks at the years of difficulty and calculates delay. But I do not calculate the way the world calculates. In my economy, the person who has been through fire is not diminished. They are refined. In my economy, the person who has carried sorrow is not broken. They are deepened. In my economy, what the world reads as loss, I am reading as preparation, as investment, as the specific and necessary formation of someone who is being made ready for something that requires exactly what the difficulty has produced. Your pain has not made you less. It has made you more. More capable of compassion because you know what it costs. More capable of joy because you know what the alternative feels like. More capable of the specific gift you are about to give the world, because the world does not need someone who has never struggled. The world needs someone who has struggled and come through and can look at another struggling person and say honestly, I know. I have been there. And there is a way through. There is a way through. I want that to land not as a platitude, but as a navigational promise. Not a vague suggestion that things might eventually get better if enough time passes. A specific, directional, active promise that the path through what you are in exists and is accessible and will take you somewhere real. You are not in a closed room with no doors. You are in a difficult room with a door that has not yet been found, and the finding is in process. You are not at the end of a dead-end road. You are at a bend in a road that continues beyond what you can see from your current position. The bend is not the end. And what is beyond the bend is worth the walk to get there. I want to speak to the person who has been waiting for so long that waiting has started to feel like the permanent condition. The person for whom the waiting is no longer a temporary state of anticipation, but has become a kind of identity, a way of being in the world. So that the waiting is not something they are doing, but something they are. I see you in the waiting. I see how the waiting has changed you, not all of it for the worse. Some of it has deepened you and quieted you, and made you more serious about what actually matters. But I also see what the prolonged waiting has cost you. The hope that used to come easily now comes with effort. The faith that used to be effortless now requires something more like determination. The dreams that used to feel alive now feel like memories of someone else's life. I see all of that. And I am here to tell you that the waiting is not going to be your permanent condition. It is a season, a hard one, but a season. And seasons change. Your season is changing. Even now, even as you sit in what feels like the same place you have been sitting in for what feels like too long, things are moving. In the invisible spaces where the foundations of circumstances are laid, things are being repositioned. People who are going to be critical to the next chapter of your life are being moved into position. Resources that are going to be necessary are being accumulated. Doors that have been firmly closed are being worked on from the other side by hands that you cannot see. The world of circumstances does not always show its movement before the movement arrives. The ground is often silent before the breakthrough happens. And the silence that you have been living in has not been the silence of nothing happening. It has been the silence of something enormous being quietly assembled on your behalf. I am the God who sees you, not a general, population-level observation of humanity from a distance. I see you, your name, your face, the particular configuration of your personality, and your history, and your gifts, and your wounds that makes you unlike anyone who has ever lived. I see the thing you tried last month that did not work out the way you hoped. I see the conversation you had that left you feeling smaller than when it started. I see the moment last week when you were in the car alone, and something played on the radio and the emotion came up before you could stop it, and you had to pull yourself together before you got where you were going. I see the things you do when no one is watching that reveal who you actually are. The small kindnesses, the quiet faithfulness, the private prayers, the way you choose to be good when there is no reward for it. I see all of it, and I hold all of it with the same quality of attention that I hold the most obviously dramatic moments of your life. You are not partially seen. You are fully seen. And being fully seen by me is not a threatening thing. It is the safest thing that exists. Do not give up. I know that sounds simple. I know that when you are in the depths of something truly difficult, when the night has been long, and the dawn has not come, and the body is exhausted, and the spirit is running on fumes, the instruction to not give up can feel like it is coming from someone who does not understand how hard the giving up is being resisted. But I am not speaking to you from a place of distance or non-comprehension. I know what it costs you to keep going. I know what it feels like to reach the end of yourself and discover that you have to find a way to go further anyway. And I am telling you, with full knowledge of the cost and full appreciation for what your perseverance has already required. Do not give up. Not because the giving up would be weak, because it would not. It would be completely understandable. But because the thing that is coming, the thing that has been set in motion, the thing that your faithfulness is building toward, requires you to be here to receive it. And I need you here. The people whose lives are going to be changed by what you are going to become and do and say, they need you here. The world that is going to be a better place because of the specific way that only you can inhabit it, it needs you here. Stay. There is something specifically for you in this season that has not been available to you before. An opening that was not there 6 months ago. A readiness in you that was not there a year ago. A convergence of preparation and opportunity that has been building like a wave and is now arriving at the shore. You can feel it, faintly maybe, underneath the exhaustion and the doubt. That faint feeling is real. That small stirring is not wishful thinking. It is the leading edge of something enormous, the first tremor before the earthquake, the first light before the dawn. Pay attention to it. Lean into it. Move toward it, even when the movement feels small and tentative and uncertain. Because movement toward the right thing, even small and tentative movement, is what opens the door. I want you to know that your prayers have been heard. Every single one of them. The ones you prayed in the formal words of a tradition. The ones you prayed in the middle of the night in sentences that barely held together because the pain was too large for proper language. The ones you prayed in the car, in the shower, in the in-between moments of the day when the need rose up and could not be contained. The ones you stopped praying because you were afraid the wanting would hurt more than the not having. Every one of them was received. Every one of them was held. Every one of them has been working in the background of your life even when you could not see the evidence of it on the surface. Prayer is not a message sent into a void. Prayer is a conversation with someone who is always listening, always engaged, always working with what you bring to the exchange. And what you have brought has been extraordinary. I want to tell you something about the specific way I am going to move in your life in this season. I am not going to do it the way you expect, because the expected ways have already been tried, and the path to what you need runs through some surprising territory. I am going to use things you would not choose. I am going to open doors in places you have stopped looking. I am going to bring the answer through a person you have not yet met, or a situation you would not have engineered, or a moment that looks like an interruption but is actually an appointment. I need you to be open. I need you to hold your expectations loosely enough that when I work in a way you did not anticipate, you recognize it as the answer rather than being confused by the form it takes. The answer is coming. Stay open to what it looks like when it arrives. You are not alone in what you are facing. I know the particular isolation of carrying something that feels like it cannot be fully communicated, something that sits in the core of you and resists the kinds of words that would make it accessible to another person. I know how that isolation compounds the original difficulty, how being alone in it adds a layer of pain to whatever the thing itself is already costing you. But I want to tell you that the isolation, while it feels total, is not actually total. I am in it with you. And there are other people, more than you know, who are in versions of the same thing, who would recognize your experience if you could find the words to describe it, who are themselves sitting in their own versions of the particular loneliness you are in, and wondering if anyone else has ever felt what they are feeling. You are not as alone as you feel. And part of what is coming in this season is connection. Real, substantive, ICU connection with people who understand in ways that go beyond the surface. It is coming. And it is going to change the texture of everything. My child, I want you to receive something from me right now. Not words, though the words are the vehicle. Something underneath the words, something that the words are pointing toward and trying to carry. I am sending it to you right now in this moment through whatever pathway is open in you, however small the opening is. I am sending love, not the diminished version that passes between human beings, though that version is real and beautiful and worth everything it costs. The fullness of it. The original. The love that made you before you existed, and that has been sustaining you every moment since. And that will be sustaining you long after the particular difficulties of this season have become a chapter in a story with a good ending. That love is arriving in you right now. You do not have to do anything to receive it. You do not have to be more prepared or more worthy or more put together. You just have to not close against it. And I know you are not closing against it because you are still here. You stayed. And the staying is enough. Your story is not finished. I need that to be absolutely clear. The chapter you are in is not the last chapter. The state of your life as it currently appears is not the final state. The losses you have sustained are not the verdict on what your life will contain. The doors that are closed right now are not permanently sealed. The dreams that have gone quiet are not permanently dead. The relationships that have been broken are not irreparable. The opportunities that seem to have passed are not the last opportunities. Your story is not finished. Not even close. And the chapters that are coming, the chapters that are going to be written out of this current difficulty, are going to be the chapters that people point to when they are trying to explain what faithfulness looks like, and what grace can do, and what a life lived in trusting relationship with the divine looks like from the inside. Your story is not finished, and it is going to be something. Stay with me. That is what I am asking. Not just through this video, but beyond it. In the moments when the weight returns, in the days when the progress is not visible, in the nights when the old questions come back, in the times when the doubt speaks more loudly than the hope. Stay with me. Talk to me. Not in formal language if that does not come naturally. Just talk. Tell me what you are feeling. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you are afraid of. Tell me what you want. I am listening. I am always listening. And I am responding, always, in the ways that serve you best, which are not always the ways you are expecting, but they are always the ways that come from love. Stay with me, and I will stay with you. And together we will walk through whatever is ahead, and it will be navigable, and it will be meaningful, and it will eventually be something you look back on with a gratitude that encompasses even the hard parts, even the dark parts, because you will be able to see from the other side of it what was being built in the darkness. Stay with me. I love you. I know I said it at the beginning. I am saying it again here because love is the frame of everything else I have said. And I want it to be the thing you carry away from this if you carry nothing else. I love you, not despite what you have been through. Not waiting for you to become someone easier to love. Not measuring the love against your performance or your consistency or your worthiness. Fully. Without reservation. Without condition. Without limit. I love you the way the ocean loves the shore. Returning again and again regardless of what the shore looks like. Regardless of the season. Regardless of whether it is received with appreciation or simply accepted as the constant it is. That is the quality of what I feel for you. Constant. Returning. Without end. Go now. Go from this moment into the rest of your day carrying what you have received here. Not armored against the difficulty, because the difficulty is real and pretending otherwise helps no one. But carrying something that is stronger than the difficulty, carrying the knowledge that you are seen, carrying the assurance that you are loved, carrying the promise that what you are in is not the end, carrying the truth that your prayers have been heard and your pain has not been wasted and your future is filled with hope. Carry all of that back into your actual life, the specific and complicated and beautiful and hard life that is yours, and let it change the way you move through it. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not past the point of breakthrough. You are not too far gone for grace. You are not the exception to every promise. You are my child, and I am with you, always. I want to stay with you a little longer because I do not think we are finished yet. There is more that needs to be said, more that you need to hear, more that your spirit has been waiting to receive before you go back out into the world that will immediately begin to press against everything that has just been deposited in you. So stay a little longer. This is worth a little longer. Let me talk to you about the specific nature of your gifts. Not in the vague language of you are special and unique that has been said so many times it has lost its meaning. I want to talk about the actual gifts, the specific ones, the ones that you have probably minimized or dismissed or called ordinary, because they come so naturally to you that you cannot imagine them being remarkable. The things you do without effort that leave other people wondering how you did it. The way you see things. The way you make people feel. The way you solve problems that leave others stuck. The way you communicate something complicated in a way that makes it suddenly simple. The way you walk into a room and something in the atmosphere changes. The way you love, specifically. The way you love, which is unlike the way anyone else loves, which carries a particular quality that the world is missing when you withhold it. Those gifts are not accidents. They were not randomly distributed. They were specifically placed in you for specific purposes that are larger than your own comfort and fulfillment, though they will produce those things as well. They were placed in you because there are people whose lives will be transformed by the particular combination of what you carry, and those people are not going to be reached by anyone but you, because no one else has what you have in the form that you have it. This is not flattery. This is the architecture of how I work. I do not mass-produce solutions. I make individual bearers of specific things, and then I position them to meet the specific people who need what only they can carry. You are one of those bearers, and the positioning is happening right now. I want to address something that may have been weighing on you for a long time, and that you have perhaps been carrying with a kind of low-level guilt that has become so constant you barely notice it anymore. The feeling that you are not doing enough, that you should be further along, that other people your age or in your circumstances are accomplishing more, that the gap between what you are and what you are supposed to be is evidence of some fundamental inadequacy that you have not yet been able to correct. I want to speak directly to that feeling and tell you something important. It is not from me. That measuring, that comparison, that relentless assessment of self against an external standard that was never mine to begin with, that is not the voice of your conscience. That is not the voice of wisdom. That is the voice of the accuser, wearing the clothes of high standards and self-improvement, but carrying an agenda that has nothing to do with your flourishing and everything to do with keeping you locked in a cycle of inadequacy that makes you easy to control and hard to free. You are not behind. I have said versions of this before, but I want to say it with more specificity now. You are not behind the schedule I set for your life. You are not behind the schedule you set for your life, because that schedule was made without full knowledge of what your life would require. And what it has required has changed the pace of things in ways that were necessary, not failures. You are not behind the schedule that the world or your family or your peers or the culture you inhabit has assigned to you, because that schedule was never yours to begin with. You are exactly where you need to be for what is coming next. And what is coming next requires you to be here, not somewhere you think you should have been by now. Right here, exactly as you are. Exactly as prepared as you are, and no more and no less. Here is where the next thing begins. I want to tell you about the people who are coming, because part of what is about to change in your life is the community around you, and this is not incidental to the breakthrough. It is part of the breakthrough. There are people who have been specifically prepared to walk alongside you in the next chapter. People whose gifts complement yours in ways that will allow both of you to accomplish things neither of you could accomplish alone. Some of these people you have not yet met. Some of them you have met briefly and lost touch with in ways that seemed final, but were not. Some of them are in your life right now, but the depth of connection has not yet been reached. All of them are being drawn toward you even now, the way that certain things move toward each other in the natural world, when the conditions are right. Pay attention. In the coming weeks and months, be open to people in new ways. The person who seems to appear at an unexpected moment. The conversation that goes deeper than you anticipated. The connection that feels like recognition, like you have known each other before even though you have not. These are appointments. honor them. There is a gift that has been blocked, a capacity that has been suppressed, a dimension of what you carry that has not yet been fully expressed because the conditions for it have not been present, because the protection of it required something that looked like limitation, but was actually gestation. And that gestation is complete. What has been growing in the protected space of the limitation is ready to emerge. You are going to find yourself doing things you did not know you could do, saying things that surprise you with their depth and their accuracy, going places you did not expect to go, taking on responsibilities that would have seemed too large a year ago, but will feel not easy exactly, but right. The right kind of challenge, the challenge that calls out of you what was placed in you for exactly this. The gift is ready. The world is ready, and you are more ready than you know. Let me ask you something, and I would like you to sit with the answer before you move on. When did you last let yourself want something fully, not cautiously, not with all the protective qualifications and the managing of expectations and the preparation for disappointment? Fully, with the whole of yourself. When did you last let a dream have your complete and unguarded investment? If you cannot remember, that tells me something important about what has happened to you over the years of waiting and hoping and being disappointed. It tells me that you have slowly, incrementally, with perfectly understandable logic, learned to want at a safe distance, to hope with an escape hatch built in, to dream with one foot already out the door. And I understand why. I have watched you learn that lesson, and I have understood why it seemed necessary. But I am calling you back from it now. I am asking you to want again. Fully. Without the protective distance. With your whole heart engaged and at risk. Because wanting at full capacity is what creates the space for receiving at full capacity. And receiving at full capacity is what is waiting for you. The thing you want most, the deepest want, the one underneath all the other wants, the one that is so fundamental that you sometimes cannot find words for it. You should want it. It is not too much. It is not inappropriate. It is not outside the range of what is possible for you. It is, in fact, precisely aligned with what I made you for, which is why it is the deepest want, because the deepest wants are usually the truest signal of purpose. Want it. Name it. Say it out loud in a space where you can hear yourself say it, because naming it is a form of taking it seriously, and taking it seriously is a form of taking yourself seriously, and taking yourself seriously is where everything begins. I want to be clear about something before we close. Everything I have said to you today, every word of love, and every promise of breakthrough, and every assurance of presence, and every call to believe, all of it is true not because you have done everything right. Not because your faith has been consistent, or your prayers have been frequent, or your conduct has been without fault. It is true because of who I am, not because of who you are. My love does not depend on your performance. My promises are not conditional on your consistency. My presence is not earned by your worthiness. If any of those things were true, none of this would apply to any human being who has ever lived, because no human being has ever been consistently faithful enough, worthy enough, or performed well enough to earn unconditional love. The love is unconditional. The condition is not on your side. It is already met, from my side, permanently, without revision, without exception, for you. That means you do not have to get better before you receive it. You do not have to sort yourself out first. You do not have to resolve the doubts and clean up the behavior and get your prayer life back on track and then come back when you are in a more receptive state. The state you are in right now, whatever it is, however complicated and imperfect and far from your best, that is a perfectly adequate state for receiving everything I have for you. Come as you are. That is not just a sentiment. It is an invitation with no prerequisites. Come as you are, right now, and receive, my child. You are seen. You are held. You are not forgotten. Your pain has not been wasted. Your prayers have been heard. Your future is full of hope. Your breakthrough is near. I am always near you. And none of what you have been through is the end of your story. Go, live like someone who knows these things are true, because they are.